All right, today we are diving into a book that's, believe it or not, thousands of years old, but it asks a question that feels so incredibly modern. We're talking about Ecclesiastes, a raw, honest, and sometimes, yeah, kind of shocking look at what it actually means to live a meaningful life. So let's get right into it. I mean, come on, this is the question, isn't it? It's at the very heart of Ecclesiastes. And let's be real, it's at the heart of all of us at some point. In this crazy world of work, ambition, pleasure, and pain, does anything we do actually last? This book is just a relentless, no-holds-barred search for that answer. So, who's our guide on this journey? Well, he calls himself the teacher, or Koheleth in Hebrew. And most people think this was none other than King Solomon. I mean, think about it. This was a man who had it all. We're talking legendary wisdom, wealth you can't even imagine, and just absolute power. His position really makes him the perfect person to run this massive experiment on what truly makes life worth living. Okay, before we go any further, we have to lock in on this one crucial Hebrew word, hevel. The teacher uses it over 30 times, so it's a big deal. Now, you'll often see it translated as meaningless, but that doesn't quite hit the mark. A much better image is vapor or smoke. It's not saying life is worthless, but that it's temporary, it's fleeting, and you just can't quite hold on to it. This idea pretty much frames his entire investigation of life under the sun. So, the teacher basically decides to run this huge experiment. He's going to systematically test every single path that promises fulfillment, looking for something solid, something that isn't just hevel. So he breaks his search down into three main areas. First up, he's going to chase after ultimate wisdom. Then he's going to completely dive into every pleasure you can possibly imagine. And finally, he'll see if maybe, just maybe, meaning can be found in big achievements and hard work. All right, first stop on the tour is wisdom. I mean, as the wisest man of his time, he pushes the limits of human knowledge, dead set on understanding the world just through his intellect. He studies everything, looking for patterns, looking for some kind of purpose. And the result? Honestly, it's pretty shocking. He finds that the more he understands about the world, the more he sees how broken it is, all the injustice, the frustrating cycles that just repeat. So knowledge by itself, it doesn't bring joy. It actually just brings more sorrow. Okay, so if wisdom just leads to sorrow, maybe the opposite is the answer, right? The teacher does a complete 180 and decides to test pleasure. He basically throws a kingdom-wide party for himself and indulges every single desire. And trust me, this was no small affair. We're talking about fine wine and nonstop laughter, huge building projects, mountains of gold and silver, literally every form of entertainment you could possibly dream up. He held absolutely nothing back. And the verdict? Even with unlimited resources, a blank check for pleasure, he concludes it was all hevel. It was all just vapor. The thrill was temporary. The satisfaction was gone in a flash. And, in the end, it just left him empty. Nothing he got his hands on could satisfy that deep-down longing in his soul. So, with the big experiments on wisdom and pleasure ending in failure, you can feel the teacher's tone shift. He stops looking for an easy answer. Instead, he starts to confront the harsh, unavoidable truths about life. And man, the teacher's honesty here is just brutal. He looks around and observes that, yeah, sure, being wise is better than being a fool in your day-to-day life. But in the end, the wise person and the fool, they both end up in the exact same place, the grave. Death is the great equalizer, and it makes everything we strive for seem, well, temporary. And he doesn't stop there. He looks around and sees a world just filled with injustice, where people who are oppressed have no one to comfort them. He also talks about the deep, real pain of loneliness and the sheer madness of working your fingers to the bone for wealth you can't even take with you. But right in the middle of all these harsh realities, the teacher finds these little pockets of hope. He realizes the incredible value of companionship. He says, in a world this difficult, our relationships and our community, that's where we find strength and support. It's our best defense against being isolated. This leads him to one of the book's most famous insights, one you've probably heard before, that there's a season for everything. Now, the point isn't that we can control the timing of life. It's actually the exact opposite. He's suggesting that real meaning is found when we stop trying to control every outcome and instead trust that there's a divine purpose behind it all, even the parts we really, really don't understand. Okay, so after this exhaustive, soul searching journey through wisdom, pleasure, and all the hard realities of life, the teacher finally gets to his grand conclusion. So, after everything he's seen and everything he's experienced, after calling pretty much everything under the sun hevel, like casing the wind, what's the final point? What's the one thing that actually lasts? And here it is. The answer, it turns out, isn't found under the sun at all. It's found by looking above it. To fear God in this context means to live with this deep, reverent trust in Him, to acknowledge that He is the source of all life and all meaning. The whole point of life, he says, isn't about what we can get out of it. It's about our relationship with the one who created it. Really, the entire book boils down to this one powerful idea. All the things we chase, wealth, wisdom, pleasure, they're all like that vapor, that hevel. They're good things, gifts to be enjoyed for sure, but they can't be our ultimate source of meaning. True, lasting meaning is only found by trusting in God, who stands outside all the temporary, fleeting cycles of our world. And that leaves us with a final, really provocative question. If our life really is as brief and as fleeting as a morning mist, then Ecclesiastes forces us to ask ourselves, how does that change the way we live today? What truly matters in the time we've been given?
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us.